administration, it always seems that the Iranians do something belligerent. We get real mad at them. Strong statement in the United Nations, sanctions, and then all of a sudden there are 20 exceptions to the sanction rules. So the Iranians have been like a very bad kid growing up in the neighborhood, where the people in the neighborhood look at this kid and go, you know, we don't like what we're seeing here. Well, now all of a sudden, that kid who's been acting out more and more over the decades now is a teenager and has really serious weaponry. And now the neighborhood's really scared. So we in the West and those in the neighborhood have sort of brought this on themselves.
Interesting, Congressman. This dysfunctional child, as Captain Nash could put it, is putting it now, could potentially have a nuclear weapon, which is, you know, changes the stakes of these things. And
yes.
Continuing that analogy, if you will, if there's no threat of something to come when a child is misbehaving, then they're never going to change. So we can send 20 aircraft carriers to this area. If they don't really believe that we're going to use them, then will we ever change this pattern of behavior? And how do we do that?
You're absolutely right. The use of our military has to, when it's used, be done in the correct manner and be successful to have credibility. But the overarching issue which Chuck brings up is, should we, over administrations, have been putting crippling economic and diplomatic, financial, travel sanctions upon Iran much earlier? Yes. Now, this has occurred over this past year. As you well know, the value of the currency in Iran has dropped like a rock. Inflation is out of sight. Unemployment's going overboard. It can't even export its oil now on its own ships right now because we have all gotten Lloyd's of London to say they're not safe to go into foreign ports. So finally, to Chuck's points, we're trying to do what's right. Put devastating economic, financial sanctions, because I believe the military option should never be off the table, but it should be on the back of the table. I wish, as he does, that we had done this with the support of the EU, China, and others much earlier. I want to make sure before we put men and women into harm's way, however, that we first tried to resolve this diplomatically. Can't tell you it's going to work, but that's why we are being prudent to build up our military to make sure if we have to do it, we do it well.
Congressman, it's interesting you bring up the oil tankers and whether or not we're crippling Iran. We have an investigative journalist coming on our show in about an hour who says she has proof that the Iranians are disguising their ships and getting the oil out of the country and continuing to do business. So this is a topic.
You know, it's interesting. You're absolutely right on that point. She has 39 oil tankers now because they can't go into foreign ports, and nobody will carry Iranian oil because we won't give them insurance on other tankers. They are finding some of these blacklisted tankers to try to sneak them in. We've got to cut that down also.
We'll see what we can do at this point and continue to talk more about it, hopefully here, and maybe talk less about it on the national stage. Congressman Sesak, thank you so much. Captain Nash, nice to have you as well.
Thanks, Jenna.
Thank you.